Hello, beautiful Jasiri lovers. We're back again to bring you the big conversations, the trending stories, and the hottest gists. Now, for those who have been wondering when they can show off in Dubai again, great news. The 2-year ban on Nigerians has been lifted. So get ready for your next vacation, your shopping spree, or, some people just go there to take pictures. So whatever you have planned is fine. Ladies, should we plan a girls' trip to the UAE?
Just go there to take pictures.
It's true now.
So the amount of ticket money, hotel stay, feeding, just to go and to pepper the rest of us.
Forget it.
I didn't see it coming. Are you speaking from experience, Bessie? Because when you say forget it.
If I experience, so should I be here? But I know there are people there that,
just going to charge their
toasting
phones,
money. That's toasting money.
That thing they do says. That thing they do said rings in my head so often when I hear my friends talk about like relationships and dating this time, that a guy has pegged you and said, this is how much I'm going to spend to get this girl.
Yes, that thing.
It stays with me. It stays with me.
You don't want to think about it, but you know that somewhere in there rings the truth.
Yeah.
Because if you sit down and want to think about it, you say, that's true. That time.
And that's why Blessing says for some people it's shopping money.
It's
just small. But Dubai is a beautiful place. I haven't been back. We went for a honeymoon several years ago. And it's a so what struck me, because as soon as you're coming out of the airport, there are all these people who want you to invest and who are pulling at you. People are buying real estate in the air. Dubai is building up, not so much as wide.
Yeah.
So people are you're buying something square feet in the air of a building that has not been built or a building that has been built. They have packaged and they have lived up to the packaging in a way as well. But it's if you have an opportunity, not one that will bankrupt you, please.
No, because
treat for
it's true.
yourself.
When you hear Dubai, you think it's a very expensive country. It is expensive. Dubai, it's a beautiful country. It's expensive. From the airport itself, that, wow.
And that the whites that they wear.
Oh my Lord.
Look at all these the
airport be like market. There's always people moving.
Did I enter a Barbara Cartland novel? All these Arab sheiks around me.
So you feel you have the perception of, boy, I'm rich.
Let me tell you.
Yes, let me,
And then you
it's
come
a
back
lovely
and you look
country,
at the fact that there's only Gary left in the house. So please, if you want to.
You know when you travel, you go on vacation, it's nice, but when you're coming back, and I think when it weighs heavily on you when you're coming back and thinking, oh boy.
Is there going to be lights when I get home?
Yeah, they tell you.
Let's not start this conversation. You know my sentiments right now. Let's not start this conversation. Let's move us forward.
All right, so there's this popular quote by Paulo Coelho that I saw, and it says, it's the simple things in life that are the most extraordinary. Do you ladies agree?
My dear.
I think that was a dense statement too. Because life is no longer simple.
No, but even at that. Okay, let me ask this question. What's the most basic thing that someone can get to you as a gift that would make you happy?
I don't do basic.
You're on his money.
Okay, in that you don't do basic. The list of the don't do basic, the list gangan on your ladder can be perhaps
tickets, hotel stay, business class. I don't do basic.
But mine is food.
I was just going to say, where chin chin. Or
chin chin will soon grow on the two of you people's heads.
They can buy you with
no.
No, but really, mine is food.
But because I cook so many things, you can't use food to.
No, but just imagine not having to cook and then.
Because you make chin chin all the time.
Okay,
let me. Why won't food be something that's basic?
I'm saying for you, right? You don't have to enter the kitchen. You just say, you know what? For the next 3 days, I'm just spoiling you with anything you want to eat.
Well, food, okay, that's basic enough. If I think about it, I would say scented candles. Scented candles.
I wanted to say hair, but hair's not so basic. Yeah, so just
it's hair.
Did you people want to be carrying plots of land?
So that's why I said
food. Even phone is no longer basic, because depending on the specs of the phone, it could end up being like school fees money for multiple terms. But if I was to say, I had to say basic and come down to you people's level, I would say like a 3-day, a 1-week stay at an all-inclusive resort, somewhere in I'll manage Lagos.
I don't think we need to see that. We need to understand the question that we're asking. That's why I need to fill exam.
So the thing is, she's a luxury person. She can't even picture it.
I don't understand.
So you don't blame her. Like she can't picture.
I don't
what are we
blame
talking
myself
about? Food, scented candles.
I came for this baby girl life, and I must live this baby girl life.
We are so sorry. Serious.
That question was not for you. I apologize.
Do you understand? And she first answered it. She first told us, I don't do basic.
I don't do basic.
Ouch! Ouch! Oh, entaju. Oh, wow.
Oh, Wale.
He don't do basic. So what do we do that is, hair is not basic now.
No, that's why I didn't say hair. I said food.
Well, it gotta be hair, man.
It is hair, right? But food.
I was going to say. Yeah, that means I'm the most basic of them. Oh, Father Lord, I thank you.
No, you haven't. You have the non-basic thing.
Chin before we went on air.
So, okay, what's the non-basic thing?
And what did I give you this morning?
Hey!
You see, I don't do what? I don't do basic.
But it's food now.
It's not basic food.
No, it's not basic
sister.
food. Okay.
There's different levels to
these things.
Oh!
Thank you.
Okay, oh. Let's go to market. But when we come back, hey, Jasiri will take you on a journey on many layers. Here is where we deal with difficult and complex conversations. Jasiri will return shortly.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We're at News Central TV. Use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversations. Now, some food for thought, or rather just some food.
Yep.
The federal government of Nigeria...
I like that.
Tolu was here when we were rhyming yesterday.
No, I saw it.
Yeah.
When we were rapping yesterday. What would your rap have been?
I have no idea. Let's face the story first. Let me think about that.
So you know what came to my mind? I'm talking about food. I'm talking about let's move.
Okay, as we were.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, the federal government of Nigeria is sending 20 trucks of rice to each state and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to help ease the economic burden on citizens. According to the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, each truck contains 1,200 bags of 25 kg rice, which will be distributed to vulnerable individuals and families. This initiative aims to address food security challenges and alleviate hardship, reflecting the government's commitment to social welfare. Wow. So each truck contains 1,200 bags of 25 kg rice. 1,200 times 20. Please, I'll quickly do the math and get you the number.
I said that chair is the problem.
I don't know. But really, is this what...
No.
Will this achieve what government hopes it's going to achieve?
No, I can tell you that for free. No.
Why?
Because, first of all, we're talking about... Is it accountability? Something happened when one of ours shared how she mistakenly transferred money to an Uber driver, you know, like a cab company.
Yes.
And then to get her money back, she mistakenly she was supposed to send like maybe 84, she sent
84,000.
And then getting it back, accountability, the man blocked her on all platforms. And so looking at that is among us, we the citizens. Now you're looking at this initiative by government, and we're looking at this initiative by government to, okay, alleviate. You do that. The people who you're putting in charge distribute this and make sure these goods reach their final destinations. How are we sure that these people are not going to put their family members, their neighbors, and every other person's names there as families who are in distress and who need this dire assistance from government?
So my thing is, we're yet to even define who the vulnerable citizens are. I'm vulnerable because I ain't got no...
sister, with your hair, you don't... You are not vulnerable.
No, but on a serious note, we haven't defined who when you say you want to give to vulnerable people, who are the vulnerable people? Is it the people that are earning the minimum wage, or the ones that do not even have jobs, or what exactly do you define as vulnerable people? That's one. Two, fine, it's a good, initiative, it's a step in probably in the right direction or in another direction, but you have rice, you don't have money to fuel the gas, you don't have money to buy pepper. Pepper is, do you know how much pepper is now? You can't buy tomatoes.
No, forget it.
At the end of the day, you can't even cook the rice. So let's even say you cook the rice, you eat the rice. How is that alleviating poverty in the whole of the country?
And so I get what you guys are saying. I think the idea is coming from a good place, because we've been hearing for how long that the federal government was going to release stores from the strategic grain reserves. And these are stores, obviously. But my big issue is what you said. How is the distribution going to be handled? And I'm looking at all the news reports. The minister is appealing to the state governments to make sure that they ensure equitable distribution of the rice to those who need it the most. So Blessings, you asked a question about defining poverty and defining the vulnerable. We're using the World Bank definition, which is I think now has moved to about less than $2 a day. When you translate that at 1,500, that's that people who are making around 3,000 naira per day. Those are the people who are considered vulnerable. We are not here. We're not there. Probably most of the people in our building may not also be considered, but we are all feeling the effects of it. How long does this rice last when you have an average family of 5? Is it only rice they're going to eat? And Blessings also asked a very good question. You bring the rice now, we have the salt. What are we eating the rice with? Exactly. So it's like it's an equation, all these very long equations. So we're inputting one part of the equation, but what happens to when they go to the market for the oil, for the pepper, for the tomato, for either egg or meat, whatever, or kwama, whatever you happen to be eating these days, that's still part of the whole value chain. But I'll come back again. Minister says that the state governor should ensure equitable distribution. What does that even mean?
Akoko, that is, it's English.
So every state is getting about, and the FCT are getting 24,000 bags
they
of
will
rice
not.
At 25 kg.
They will
I
sell
might
the
sound
bags.
somehow, I might even say that 25 kg, split it into half. Because I don't think one 25 kg bag should, you want mass, so we have to ask, are we looking for mass distribution? Are we looking for targeted distribution? Split the 25 kg bag in half or into 3 or whatever, because I know you can split the bag and then give it to more families. But if you do that, you might not be getting people as much. So this is a really tricky place, and I think we all need to watch, because it's not free. It's costing the federal government something. It's costing the Nigerian state something, either grains from the strategic reserves or money or something that they need to plug to make sure that this is available. At this point, it's on the governors. Do we trust our governors?
No, I think, and also I think we are too hungry. We are extremely hungry, too hungry to even see clearly. The people who are going to be in charge of distributing these, how are you going? Are you going to verify them all the way to their houses to make sure they are the ones without sins who will cast the first stone?
Exactly. So this is not the first time that we're hearing of such initiative, and months down the line, we're like, wait, that rice that they said was coming, where is it?
They have sold it. They're going to sell it. People who are there already doing the math, like Tolu sat here and did the math, 1, 2 times something. They have done the math also, and they are just waiting for the bag of rice to reach them, and they're just going to sell it. It's just the, would I say, street mentality, poverty mentality, the mentality of Nigerians now, of how we are, who we are. They don't care about rice. They will eat that white rice like that if they need to eat the white rice like that. They will cook it with palm oil if they need to cook it with palm oil. But in their minds, they are just seeing rice. And by all means necessary, they are just going to sell it. Not necessarily, okay, bring your girlfriends and your baby mamas and everybody, your neighbors, your family members, so that you can be voted the king of boys.
That's the other thing. It becomes another publicity tool. We saw what happened during COVID. Food that was meant to go to people was stored and then repackaged so that someone could come and claim the glory for the food. So we have a chain of issues.
Yes,
and
we do.
On this part, government is trying what it can, whether you agree with them or not. Now government is handing it over to the states. The states will likely hand it over. Who are you handing it to? Local government chairman? Are you handing it to state house of representatives? People who are going to go to So right now, what I need to see is, like a Lagos State now, what is Lagos State's plan for the distribution of this? We still have the Sunday market. Like, what way are you using those? You said, I think that was supposed to be 25% off the food prices compared to the market. We haven't heard much about it, but I believe they're continuing. But what is the plan for Lagos State and every other state in equitably distributing this? But as Blessing said, right now we are all vulnerable. It's not even just the people who are earning 3,000 naira and less. We're all very, very vulnerable right now.
So I don't know if there are reactions to these news, because I know Nigerians, our blood is just hot in these past few days.
I said it. The whole of Nigerians are he meant vulnerable. What is this you are doing? This is very laughable. Instead of dealing with the issue, you are sharing rice. How long will it last? How many will that get to? How will it help the economy, or how will you feed the whole of Nigerians daily? And that's a very big question. You said this because of economic hardship, but how does this ricochet back on helping the economy? Then they go to Kano, which...
Oh, and I actually like that question. It was saying something about Kano having 20 million people, and then compared to another state that has like 3 or 6.
I was thinking about that this morning. You mean Kano with over 20 million people will receive 20 trucks, as well as Bayelsa that has less than 3 million people? It doesn't make sense. I was thinking about that.
So it's not equitable.
It's not. It's equal, but it's not equitable.
Yes.
And the federal government doesn't want to be seen as not being equal, treating all component parts as equal, but meanwhile, it's not equitable. Lagos should not be getting the same amount as many other states. Exactly. I actually agree. Kano too, if they're looking at the top states with the biggest population in Nigeria, we should not be getting the same amount.
Are we calm enough to do the mathematics and know that exactly where, and will people be enlightened to know that not because Kano gets 20 trucks, Bayelsa will come and say, if you're giving Kano, we don't care how it is, give us our own. There's also
But that's how it should be, because if you're saying that it should be equally and equitably distributed based on the number of vulnerable people, if you do a consensus, those in Kano, you'll see that they're completely different. So you can't give the same number of truck of rice to the different states that have different people.
Using this example, Bayelsa is getting 20 trucks for 3 million people. You need to take 10 of those trucks. Probably split 5 extra to Kano, but we don't. Our politics doesn't play like that.
It doesn't.
And it takes a really tough person to make that kind of decision and say, you know what, this is based off of your last census plus let's add some percentages to it, because we still have not done a new census. So let's add some percentages to it, and let's have an estimated population growth and the estimated population of those vulnerable in your area.
I know that. Listen, I know that there would be more reactions because this, for example, it makes you think and say, oh, it's true. Look at this now. I pray these guys won't hide the rice. Palliative taught us so much about their nature. Anytime the presidency meant well, when it gets to some of them, everything turns inside out or outside in.
It's turning on its own. Yeah. Someone asked, who are the vulnerable? What is the quality each vulnerable household gets? How long will this food last them for? The state governments will fill up their warehouses again with the food. Wow. So it seems most people are, to a point, appreciative of what the federal government is doing. Their concerns now are at the state level.
Which I'm sure, this gesture will be lost in translation, because if it trickles down to state governments and local governments, oh my God, by the time it gets to... So I think that's everybody's worry. And then, of course, also looking at, is that going to solve the long-term issue of poverty, of no food, of hardship, of everything? Yeah, we get the rice. Okay, we eat it now after 2 weeks, if the rice reach 2 weeks now. After then, so what? What next?
Because with Lagos, how many local government areas does Lagos have? I think 23 officially.
Yeah,
there are 33 LCDA. So if you send, you can't even send one truck to one local government, because we have more local governments than trucks. See, this math, I don't envy the people who have to do this math.
Well, honestly, it feels like just a goodwill act, because it's something that would happen and then would forget. How about looking at reducing the price of things? I know it's not so easy, but just eating rice and forgetting it is not the solution that we're looking for.
It's not. All right, so they said I should still give you some more food for thought. This time it's raw. Well, rice was raw too anyway. But just last week, the First Lady, Remi Tinubu, launched her Every Home a Garden initiative. She encouraged all Nigerian women to join the competition and get involved in farming and food production. Now, we know what we experience when we go to the market. So there's been a lot of back and forth on this. So the federal government under the Tinubu administration has this project. Now the First Lady also has what we consider a First Lady project, encouraging Nigerian women across the country to go back and find a way to garden in their homes. The reactions, I think, are what has been quite interesting. Why? She's laughing. But she said competition. So I was hearing something around that somebody who has the best garden, and I don't know what the timeline was, like 10 million? 10 million naira. And that 10 or 20. I can't remember. Asha knows 2 digits millions.
Something like that, yes.
It's really quite interesting. She says she has planted 7 different vegetables. I'm just thinking about, I don't have a backyard. I have a compound. Because Nigerians, we don't like greenery. You build to the wall. Just create a small, and I missed it. I grew up actually gardening with my mom. I don't know. I don't know.
It's not something that we are used to. And when I see
what you say in Lagos?
Well, wherever it is that you are, so far as you're in this Nigeria, wherever it is, I don't think people in Lagos farm or garden a lot, except maybe people in the mainland, probably because, I don't know, it's not as put together like on the island where there's interlocking tiles and there's
concrete jungle.
Everything, like Toulouse says, is built from wall to wall. I miss that also. So what I do for me is that maybe because I have, like you say, you grew up plucking water leaf and removing grass from it. When you do something wrong, they're punishing you. One stand like son, carry the hoe, weed all the grass, do this, do that. My grandmother, rest her soul, she would come to the house. When she knocks, all of us would say shh, shh.
Because it's work.
The only thing I remember was we had a maize farm, I think.
There was always maize.
Sustainable, to be honest.
Maize
There was
and
a time my
ugu.
mom said I should bring cane, and I couldn't find cane, so I just uprooted one of it and then gave it to her.
She did not cane you with it.
She did.
I will cane you with it. Why won't she cane you with it?
Why didn't you add
Nonsense.
that? So now, when I realize when I want to grow, I have to get a bath. You know, the baby bath.
Yes.
And put soil in it and just grow if I want to grow like water lily. Because sometimes you miss it. It's not idleness, so it's just when you look at how the economy is going, you say, well, since we are government unto ourselves, let us government our kitchen by ourselves. So you grow like basic things like ugu leaf, water leaf,
tomatoes,
basil,
atarodo.
tomato. So I mean, and you just—it's not a lot of work. Just throw the water as you are, just pour the water there, pour the water there. You think it begin to sprout?
And you'd be
It's
surprised.
amazing.
We have some tweets in reaction to that because as we married that with the federal government trying to put the rice, it's also an interesting perspective on the other side. So
Yes,
let's
we could
get
just
some of
plant
the
the rice.
tweets. Eh? Okay, let's take. Oh my goodness. Okay, Ayo Bankole, in response to the First Lady's tweet encouraging every home a garden, he said 133 million Nigerians, that's 65% of the population, are multidimensionally poor.
Wow.
National MPI is 0.257, i.e. the Nigerian poor live through over 25% of all possible deprivations. So a Nigerian First Lady is declaring in every home a garden challenge. This is the reality of the Nigeria she is challenging, of the Nigerian she's challenging.
Now
like
that's
the photo.
deep. And
It's very
it's
deep.
When you look at that and you look at, see, he's not playing. What he's saying is actually, this is serious.
So marry that with the rice you're giving out as well.
That's why I said I wish you could plant the rice.
Do you know how long?
Right.
That's why they beat you with the. That's why they beat you with the yam you harvested.
Now people are looking for alternatives.
But you know, we had a guest. Was it Gina
Chef.
Foods, the
Gina,
chef,
yeah.
who talked about how she had started her home garden and she had they broke the concrete and then they had tires. I know some people use tires. Some guy even posted about how he bought loamy soil and they were charging him 600. Now he said Nigerians are even making me pay for soil. But there are people who are interested in it. There are people who have already started this sort of urban home garden thing. So I don't think the First Lady is necessarily too far off.
It's not too far, but it's just the same. Comparing it to the vulnerable, when they say vulnerable, it's not just people that cannot afford to eat.
65%
We're talking about people that cannot
65.
afford to pay their medical bills, people that cannot afford to transport, that cannot afford to send their children to school. Who is going to have the time to start gardening?
And that's why I say Nigerians and our blood is hot. You're saying, okay, so with all the problems, madam, you have planted 7 different vegetables.
Yes, someone
okay,
said,
how
person we
does it?
don't chop belly food, I ain't go enter backyard they plant. Like you have to find something to eat first.
And then you ask yourself, so why didn't we think of this thing 7 years ago? Well, still, why is it
But
now
wait,
that
why can't 3 things be running concurrently? Why can't 4 things be true at the same time? It's a good initiative. It's an idea. They're sending rice at the same time. It's an idea. But then it also, 2 of them coexist in a Nigeria where if we are 10 in a room, 6.5 of us or almost 7 of us are multidimensionally poor. When you break down 65%, that means about 10 people in a room, 6 Nigerians are multidimensionally poor.
If we're
They can exist on the same plane.
If we're talking about things running concurrently, there has to be one that is in favor of the people, that is sustainable, like making things more affordable for people to buy. That's the kind of concurrency we want to see. Okay, affordability, then rice and gardening, no problem. But that you're sharing rice that will not last 1 week. You're asking me to garden and even saying the one that buds the most, or what's the word you give it? How? Where will I buy the fertilizer?
Now, when you
that?
finish working, by the time you finish on Lagos roads and you get home, you're exhausted. When is it the time to garden? Saturday you are washing, you're cleaning, you're chasing
But there's
everything.
never time for, unless you make time for what is important.
That's what I'm saying. But you are tired, and then Sunday you go to church. Some people spend the whole
Because
day.
if I'm going to, we want to go and buy 5 tatache for 1,000 naira yesterday, it's going to become important when it's hitting your wallet.
Not everybody is talented or has that grace, like we say on Lagos roads. To be green thumbed. Not everybody has that. Some people don't get the patience to look at this. They say, go and bring cash. You uprooted the maize. And
you will never leave this thing down.
You just uprooted it.
You will never leave this thing down.
She didn't have respect for the plant, respect for the work that went into growing, cultivating the maize. No, you just uprooted it. Imagine you have children in the house and you've diligently planted all your whatever, and they go, mommy, see, mommy, and they uprooted.
Mommy's going to beg you to see. Wow.
No, but honestly,
no. I'm serious. So guys, it is. These are the realities that we cannot and the proper we cannot deny. These are the realities that we cannot deny. That's why I hooks. But listen,
every home in God.
Let's set the background for the next conversation we'll go to when we come back from the break.
Okay. I hope it's not food, because I'll get up from here.
It's today is food.
Yes,
we must talk about it.
Yesterday was heavy, was catch up Monday. Today is food. That's our reality. We'll be right back, guys. All right, welcome back. You're watching Jasiri, and we're live on all our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Just use the hashtag Jasiri. That way you can be part of the conversation. Now let's move things along. An interesting development happened in Ile-Ife. The Oni of Ife, Oba Eniton Ogunwusi, forgive me, implemented strict measures to control the soaring prices of food and essential commodities in his domain. Now, he's threatened to banish any trader or market association member who sells goods beyond the reach of the common people. He has also banned all market associations and unions from fixing prices or coercing members to sell at specific rates. This move is intended to curb the excessive prices of goods. Additionally, any trader caught cheating customers by undermeasuring quantities will also face banishment.
Now that is what should run concurrently.
Fine man.
Yes, that's what should run concurrently with all this.
Please, can we take the video?
Things that I've been hearing.
It's what Captain said I heard. Please, can we take the video?
Ògúnwùsì Ọ̀jájá ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì àti gbogbo àwọn ìjòyè mẹ́rìndínlógún tó ń bá Olúfẹ́ gbìmọ̀ràn ni wọ́n ní kí àwọn bàbá lọ́jà àti ìyá lọ́jà kí wọ́n lọ jẹ́ iṣẹ́ ìfún gbogbo ọjà ní ilẹ̀ Ifẹ̀ àti ibi tí Ifẹ̀ dé dúró wípé láti òní lọ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìpàdé tí ibi tá a ti kúrò nísìn nínú pálásì wọ́n ní àwọn ò fẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹlẹ́gbẹ́jẹgbẹ́ kan bóyá ẹgbẹ́ onírẹ̀sì ẹgbẹ́ aláta elépo títí débi tó ń kó lè kéré mọ́ pé àwọn fọwọ́ fagilé láti òní lọ. Wọ́n ní ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá tún wá tún gbéra tó bá wá sọ pé òun gbé ẹgbẹ́ kan dìde pé ara àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ yẹn pé bóyá ẹnìkan ń tajà bóyá ó fẹ́ ta ọjà tí yóò wù lóye tó fẹ́ tà á tán wá mú gbogbo tí ìlú Ilé-Ifẹ̀ bá ti ṣe sí kó fara mọ́. Lẹ́yìn náà wípé ó dé èèwọ̀ láti òní lọ pé lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí ata ti wọ́n sẹ́yìn tó ti wá sílẹ̀ wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ lé ata 500 naira mọ́. Múrí márùn-ún àti àpò kan ẹni tó bá wá fẹ́ rà ó lè kó papọ̀ àyàfẹ́ tó wá fẹ́ ra pẹ̀rẹ̀. Eléyìí tó kú dàbí tiẹ̀
So just a brief translation, the chief said that they were rising from a meeting with the Oni of Ife, and the agreement was that there would no longer be any market associations. That's one, that the associations were therefore banned and that they could no longer fix prices. Then he said something about 500 naira pepper, but I wasn't able to hear it. So I think he said Koma Le, which means do not put it down. That I don't think there'll be 500 naira pepper again.
No, I think they said no.
Koma Le.
I don't know.
Muri meji ati apukan.
No more.
I said no more. Go on, lay. No more 500 naira pepper.
Okay, so from 200.
So Muri Meji is really, 200. Apokan is 100 naira.
I really
so no more 500 naira. So that part didn't really make sense. But we'll get some clarity on that.
So it's just basically what you read about, not cheating and not
under measure. So Catherine, let me start with you. I have my interesting thoughts on this.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want to start?
No.
You're gathering yourself. Blessings, go ahead.
My own question is
like she's ready. Don't worry.
No. So my question is, this banishment thing, can we introduce it not in the rural areas now, but in the urban? So when you offend, they banish you to another country. Because I would like to apply.
I should have known.
No, you cannot apply it. Is that what you have to say to this entire story?
I'm just very curious.
That's why I said.
And do they pay for your transport? I'm just very.
They don't pay for your transport. They sing and gong you out of the village.
Yes,
to where?
And you go
wherever you like, outside of the borders and the boundaries of the.
They escort me. Now I'm thinking let's
come back to what we were discussing. This is why they beat her.
I'll be dancing.
This is how well. They will escort you to Niger.
No, but what I do like this. This is amazing, honestly. I wish that this can be implemented on a wider scale. I'm talking about the federal government, putting a ban on this excessive hike in prices. Yes. Everything is now about dollar. Yes. They ask you for something that we're planting and growing here, you say the dollar has gone up.
But it's not as simple as that. These people still have to buy fertilizer. The people who are growing on the farms have to buy fertilizer. That has gone up in price. When you talk about movement from farm to market, have you seen the state of your roads? a lot of times people are losing half, maybe not half, but they're losing a good percentage of their produce before it makes it to the market. They want to make up for what left versus what arrived. They want to make up for that. So by the time they're selling to the seller, who's then, because with market people, you'll see the ones who sell the big bags, and then the ones who now piece out. Everybody's adding their small gain on top of it. So it's not as simple as just saying, is the sellers. The part I like the most is banning these market associations. I think they're very anti-competitive. You'll go and you want to buy something, and they'll say, in Katati, so no, that is what our association has agreed. And people are not able to, okay, if you are doing 50, I'm not able to do 45, just to be competitive and draw more customers. Everybody's almost selling the same thing. So typical things like sugar, flour, sometimes with eggs is different because of sizing. So there's certain things that are locked in based on the agreement with the egg, and that is a very anti-competitive way for us to exist. So I like that part of it, but I worry about his ability. So people were questioning if he has the right to actually banish. He's the only of Ife. And the chief said it's where Ife is and to where Ife extends to like its boundaries, that is where his rule is. But in a democracy in the 21st century, as a Nigerian with the constitution, I have freedom of movement and freedom to reside wherever. It would be interesting to see how that works. If somebody was caught and they only wants to banish them, the person said, I'm Nigerian, I live here, you can't banish me.
So
but I think customary and because tradition and modern jamming.
I do not believe that there is a clash, because for them to have coexisted this long, the fact that they still have like kings in this area, it means that there are some rules that are not bendable when it comes to the whole. It's just like Sharia law, for example. You can't say because I'm a Nigerian I can do. The Sharia law is a strict law. It applies to the people that it applies
if
to.
You live there, so if you live there, that
you
means
are
under the umbrella of that law. What interested me is the way they're looking and they're listening to this information with almost reverence. And I remember I sat in the studio I said I like the rural life. It's simple, it's straightforward. Like now, I don't think they would go. They're inclined, or they would even think of going against what the owner of Ife said, because it's a community that he rules with. I mean, the four corners or the boundaries of wherever Ife begins and ends, that's where he rules. My concern is people who are selling. How do they make their money? Even if you say, okay, don't increase prices unnecessarily, but how do they make their monies back?
Because doesn't it seem like you've traded multiple egbes for one association under the Oni of Ife, which is telling you can't raise prices?
Sellers? Are you going, because listen, they have to sell, and are they going to sell at a loss?
And so the Nigerians who are also vulnerable.
Yes,
they're the ones who are selling.
I like the fact that they as a community, they seem to be like
united on this.
Yes, they seem to be together, synced in this. But my own is the government going to come from sideways to help them? I mean, to support the sellers, to make sure that the prices are basic and minimum enough for people to buy what they need to do without breaking a sweat, without panicking. Because in Lagos, if you're going to the market nowadays, your heart is beating. Listen, guys, I'm not even joking. I hold my list tightly. And I don't veer outside.
You still hold lists?
No,
I just start from the beginning of the market. Anyway, the money reach, I'll go back.
No, but you need to know what you're going to buy with that money. I hold lists.
Because before you know it, you're buying things to just make soups and things, and 75K has gone. You first of all do POS. Let me hold 25 just in case.
And they remove 200 and how many from you?
So by the time you're buying meat, you're buying pomo, you're buying because you have maybe different soups you want to make. So you're spreading, this one will have more pomo than meat because, this one will have more meat than, by the time you're doing all the mathematics, you ask yourself, and you carry your bag, you're asking yourself, what the heck?
Did I buy?
Oh
what
my
the heck?
God, what the heck?
You keep on spending out like, what the heck?
You're putting more water in your soup, you're putting more water in your stews. So if that, and I think, to an extent, I actually comment. I like this initiative by Ife and the owner of Ife. I like it, and the fact that people will be banished, my dear, you are not unbanishable.
Stop it.
Hey, focus.
Stop it. Abi, is he looking for another wife?
No.
Olori Catherine, does it have a nice ring?
No one that she said honey of Ife is it's not honey, it's oni. Because I'm like honey, like what do you mean?
You heard it too, right?
Maybe we should visit
yourself.
It's not really far from
Olori Catherine, Abi.
Sweetie of
He has
Ife.
a nice ring. But anyway, but let's wrap this up very quickly, because there's still questions as to his ability to enforce food price control. It's your French that's getting on that. In this dispensation that's getting to us. Yeah. The role of our traditional rulers, this is one step. I think there was something I heard, not so similar, but something a traditional ruler was doing in the East as well, trying to sort of help with the prices. But there's another part he mentioned, under measurement. Yes. And I know that we used to have weights and measures, standards weights and measures organization or group that used to go to the markets to test the things that people are using. To, I think this is a really good time to bring them back. Yeah. Because the things I've heard about people, the things I've seen, that people will they will burn the bottom of something to change it. They'll put a hole, all these kind of things.
Especially tomatoes, the paint buckets.
And then when you get down,
your insides. Yes. Don't allow them pack it away from your face because you wouldn't see. Absolutely. Let them remove the tomatoes in front of you when you're buying a basket.
Helping to, and then bag tomatoes at the bottom.
So just elevate it. Meanwhile, there's nothing there.
We're a different breed.
It's wickedness.
It's wickedness, especially in this time. Yes, they want to make money to take home, but that's not the kind of money you want to be taking home. Yeah. So we'll see how things go, because again, I'll emphasize there have been questions about the Oni's capacity to make these kind of, not capacity, his there's a word I'm looking for. His jurisdiction or to sort of make and enforce this ban, and particularly sort of this food control. So I know in the coming days and weeks we'll be hearing more about this. But we've wrapped up those kind of conversations.
Yeah. No more food, right?
Wait, let me check the other stories. No more food. No more food. Which means we're getting into hot topics. Let's go. At this point, that sound should start giving some people nightmares, but not us. So let's get into our hot topics right now. The Nigerian police force has this story. The Nigerian police force has dismissed Corporal Buba Adamu for refusing to report to his new post in Kaduna State and for engaging in illegal activities. You think it's just that, but wait. According to SP Irene Igbo, the spokesperson for the Cross River Police Command, Adamu was transferred from Cross River Command to Kaduna 9 years ago.
What?
But never reported to his new station. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 365. Now wait. Instead, he promoted himself to the rank of superintendent and operated illegally in Calabar. His activities were exposed by concerned members of the Nasarawa community, which is a Hausa Fulani settlement in Calabar, who reported him to the authorities. Adamu had been operating as a mobile police officer without any supervision or reporting to a specific police command since 2015. I still have more. Despite not fulfilling his duties, he continued to receive his salary. Now, following his dismissal, all police property in his possession was retrieved, and his case has been handed over to the court for further action.
Can we say that Adamu is not the problem?
But Adamu is actually not the problem.
No,
it's not the problem.
I said it yesterday. What did I say? POLICE. That word is a problem. Just mention police.
The problem. He just took advantage of the opportunity that
can anything good come out of Nazareth? 9 be police. Can anything? Why would you leave that lacuna? 9 years. A police officer is collecting his salary uninterruptedly. 9 years. You were supposed to resume in Kaduna. The people in Kaduna, did they not say, excuse me,
we have not seen him. Did he get lost on the way?
His mobile phone number must be working. You must
I like the superintendent part.
No,
you make it.
No.
Himself.
The one I like is the one he promoted, mobile police officer.
Yeah, so this just goes to show that a lot of police, I don't want to generalize, but like they're obviously working independently, because you deploy someone somewhere, he's not reporting to you. The ones that you sent him to, they did not see him. The one that he left, they did not see him for 9 good years, and he's still receiving salary. And nobody thought to ask, where is this guy? What's he up to?
9 years.
9 years.
My own is, 15. When they say he was involved in illegal activities, he says he was a mobile police. Call him, he'll be there. Is it that kind of, if you have an issue? Because sometimes, because of the promptness with which you attend to, if there's a case or if there's something like something is going wrong somewhere, and maybe like they say it's in Cross River, and you say, no, call this Baba Adamu. If you call Adamu will there now. So sometimes maybe that people begin to depend on that, because all you want is effectiveness. I have a problem, I want someone, call Adamu. Adamu go there. You don't know that, call him, Adamu will be there. But not knowing that the man was just
So he was involved in the police illegal activities.
Yes.
And this is so sad, because if something happens, God forbid that maybe he becomes a trigger happy police and shoots someone, and they're trying to report him, they're like, oh no, this one is not in our, it's not for Kaduna, it's not for Calabar, so where is he from? Nobody
Meanwhile,
knows.
he'll be wearing your uniform, wearing your beret, having all the
It's literally like saying you dismiss someone and the person is still operating.
I say he promoted himself to superintendent. I don't understand.
So it's like saying that they send me to Abuja now, to our bureau in Abuja, but somehow I'm still here. So, but that's my issue.
You're not even here. You're somewhere else. And you open your own
but that's the thing I do not believe is possible. I do not believe that this guy was able to operate in Calabar without members of the police command knowing he was still around.
Voila, because they would say, Baba, you sit there here, they would actually be talk like that.
Are you telling me, okay, he only operates at night when they can't see him, or he what? He did this thing undercover. Yes, maybe they were not involved with him, but a lot of people knew he was still around. I cannot believe that they did not know.
Yeah, bro.
So members of the Nasra community were the ones who eventually went and reported the matter because they were caught up in his illegal activities. He was probably either asking people to bribe him or being used as a strong arm or a heavy man or whatnot.
There must have been something, because why do you suddenly report him? You knew that he was there and doing what he was doing. Now he doesn't favor you anymore, or he has roped you into, and the potopota is telling his white, is telling your white too. And then you decide that, oh, excuse me, or perhaps this man, you are looking for him, he's here, or he hasn't gone to where he was supposed to go.
So he must have been useful. He may have been useful for some people. And now they're saying that part of the reason they're even coming out more is because there's pressure for the police state command to release him. He's in jail. Who is pressuring to release somebody who had dereliction of duty 9 good years? So one, what is the process for transferring a police officer? I know there's some papers. When you get the paper signing out of a command, you're meant to sign in somewhere. Someone's supposed to say this person has arrived for 9 years. So it was not a computer, it was not an audit that caught him. It was not nobody. It was the fact that the community got tired of his activities for 9 years.
What is this thing with begging? What is this thing? Yesterday was the same thing. The story we took here when a police officer was arrested for raping a 17-year-old girl. Say family members were coming to beg. What? I don't understand the begging. So you are begging to release him to free him from jail.
I don't think anybody's begging. I don't think I just feel like the police doesn't want that pressure on themselves. They just want the story to die, and
no,
then
it cannot just die.
Possible.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's begging for anybody.
It's possible.
I'm not even going to
They just want to dismiss him and let the story move. He's no longer wearing our uniform. We're satisfied.
I would not even be surprised if he's not dismissed.
No, they say he's been dismissed and handed to the court.
Do you want that?
Yeah, but say, what can the court do? I mean, yeah, we know that, okay.
So there's going to be a case brought against him, but also who's bringing the case? Typically in this kind of situation, it should be the police, because it was dereliction of duty under the police that was bringing it as the prosecution. But
what can be the maximum sentence, though? What can be the maximum sentence? What can...
9 years, and they kept paying him salary.
C'est ça. 9 years.
So not once did the system catch that this person was not where he was supposed. And if it's happening with just this guy, you guys cannot tell me that it's not happening with other people, other police officers across the country. It's not a big thing, but you can't tell me this is just one.
Because if something were happening in that unit, for example, in that Kaduna unit that he was supposed to be at, wouldn't there be questions raised that, okay, this is happening in maybe
Kaduna? Be an extra body.
Yeah, where is the extra this person? Where is this person?
Every time I have to wait until something happens. They're transferring you automatically. The other ones know that somebody is coming. So you're expecting.
I don't have anything more to say.
Police
we should reflect on his. I
wish we had stayed on food.
So is he going to be made to return the salary? Oh, he can never return the salary. He can't have that money. No. 9 years of salary. Where does he? How does he want to return it?
Why would he be made to? It's not his fault.
Normal, somebody that drove somebody just return the money.
It's not his fault that he didn't get caught earlier. But yes, he is responsible. They've made a federal lawmaker return salary.
If anybody should go to jail, it's
salary?
all of them at this point. It's not. He's just a part. Is a pawn in the bigger picture. Because you keep paying him salary. You cannot tell me that you don't know that this guy is not working, is not reporting to any of the two. Like,
for me, I think it's just the temerity of it all, man. Like in broad daylight. I don't get, where are we headed to? In this
nowhere. We've been headed to nowhere for a while.
Okay.
We are a very active country, so we do a lot of motion, but we never go anywhere.
Motion, no direction.
Motion, no direction.
My Lord.
They said we should go to this.
All right, so in our next story, media personality Daddy Freeze was recently fined 5 million naira for committing adultery with, in quote, wife Benedicta Elechi. In response, Benedicta conducted an Instagram live session, always Instagram, where she addressed the ongoing controversy. She claimed that she'd filed for divorce from her former husband 12 years ago, alleging that they shared different sexual preferences and citing this as a reason for their separation. Now, during the live session, she defended her actions, asserting that she and her husband Freeze had not committed any offense. She now questions the norms, the societal norms that often shame women for moving on while the divorce proceedings are ongoing. This would be Freeze and his dark, that very pretty face. That's his pretty face.
Let's watch.
Pretty faced wife. Let's watch this.
If divorcing my ex 12 years ago and starting a relationship before the end of my 10-year divorce lawsuit makes me an adulteress, I am going to wear that tag like a crown with pride on my forehead. For every woman going through a divorce that believes that because our judicial system takes 10 years to 12 years and even more to issue a divorce certificate.
Okay. What do you guys think about this fine imposed on Daddy Freeze imposed on Freeze?
So I'm going to go to her straight. She has a very valid point. You can be a divorced man or a man undergoing divorce proceedings in this country and do a traditional marriage and get married and have children and move on.
Yeah.
And your wife is stuck waiting for a finalization of
We've
divorce.
talked about that thing.
We
even
have.
here. Yeah.
And it's not so much, I don't know the intricacies of this case, but given that it's a conversation we've had before, the country makes it difficult for women to move on.
Yep.
And so, but a man can easily move on. But for me also in a divorce situation, dot your I's, cross your T's. I don't know if that was done and now they're going to appeal the appeal, court's judgment and ruling on this, but I have that to say. I agree with her on that. A man will move on, have a whole new family, and the divorce is still ongoing. And you don't hear people batting a single eyelash.
Yep, that is true. But so why is it then different for women? And why do and
they don't like
she says if that
free.
Makes me an adulteress, then so be it.
She's going to wear that scarlet letter A with pride.
Don't. Wait. This adultery we speak of, is it with her or against her? Because I'm sort of confused there.
It's with her. So it's like, I know in the US, some states, particularly in the South, have something called alienation of affection. So it is going after the third party that you claim is responsible for the breakdown of your marriage. She's saying the marriage had already broken down because she allegedly found out he had different sexual preferences of which he used to initiate the divorce. She says divorce went on for 10 years. It's very possible that 10 years her husband has moved on.
Yeah.
But the husband went and sued Freeze to court saying that they were still married when Freeze started engaging in a relationship with his wife. And so therefore he's committing adultery with his wife. So, yes. I absolutely agree with her about the societal double standards.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There are very fine lines in between, and really one can overlap into the other.
Absolutely.
How this is going to play out, I don't know. I think it's already something that's already in the cooler. Why do you not wake it up now? Why can't we just move?
No, so this is appeal court, which means this is probably the third court or the second court that's gotten into. Yes.
That's why you can hear cases like that span over, the years. 10 years is a long time.
I'd be really interested in finding out how, if the husband moved on in those 5-10 years, what his status is as well. Because you can counter too. It's not only going one way. And I think that's a very interesting part of this conversation, but I will tell you 100%, we do not treat men who are getting divorced the same way we
don't. A lot of them, Tolu is right on that, a lot of them get married while the divorce is ongoing. They say, okay, the traditional wedding has nothing to do with the court, one
eyes are always on the women.
Other, and the eyes are on the women. So also when you lose a partner or you lose a husband, the society is telling you
are there widow rights? There are only widow rights, but there are no widower rights.
But the society is telling the woman how long she should mourn, what she should do in the first month. A woman who has lost her husband cannot get up a week after and just go back to her daily living.
Why are you working?
People feel so. This just so women, you can't win. You look at it from different angles. You're asking, how do you win? How do you even navigate? How do you get out of all of this? And so we are struggling. It's bad enough. We struggle with everything. Menopause, menstruation. Men, we are on, listen.
Everything, men.
Yo, guys.
Men.
About the men.
I needed that laugh. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, we have to go. This story, there are a lot of dimensions. She's talking, I don't know if Freeze himself has particularly made a statement about this.
He is, Freeze is vocal. He's vocal about it. He's not someone to, in as much as he might use words and be eloquent using the words, but he's not someone to shy away from talking. So I think if he hasn't said something, he will say something.
And I think this is a story that's going to draw lots of societal conversations out. And I hope people are open, are willing to be honest and open about this conversation about women divorcing our society, women being on the receiving end of such situations. And let's have honest, open conversations about this.
All right, so we go. This is how today's episode has been. So we hope you have enjoyed, as usual, today's episode of Jasiri. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, for another exciting episode. Until then, it's goodbye.
Go and farm.
It's making me hungry.
So that we don't end up beating you like we're beating blessings.
Go and farm.
Go and farm.
It's making me hungry.
Yes,